and a thread that matches the tone of your badge, right? You don't want to use white on a blue badge. You don't want to use a pink on a blue badge. You want to use a blue, preferably a darker blue. All of these materials to sew on this badge can be found at your local dollar store. It's as simple as that. For the positioning of your badge, it will go midway between this seam right here on the top of your shoulder and your elbow. So what we're going to do is you put it on, right? Get a buddy or your parent, whatever, and just simply take the badge. The best way to do it is put the badge on and pin it. It doesn't have to be straight right now, okay? It's simply to get a bearing of where your center is, alright? We already know center is right here, okay? So what we're going to do is position our badge on there, right? Just like that, okay? You want to ensure that your badge is in line center-wise with your cadet squadron badge, okay? So this one, we have a odd number for our number, 899, 3 numbers. Our center is going to be right here, right? And then we have our flight sergeant badge. Our center for flight sergeant, or any rank with chevrons, is right here, straight down the middle, right? Okay, it's at the peak of your chevron at the bottom, and the divot, or the trough of it, at the top. For, let's say, corporal, let's say sergeant, right? Sergeant does not have the crown. Okay, sergeant's like that. Peak is going to be right here, or trough, and peak is right there. Right? Be just like that. Okay, your rank badges for all your sergeants, flight sergeants, corporals, LACs, they're all positioned upright like this. Okay? They are not positioned like this, contrary to popular belief. They're positioned upright like that. Okay? Your crown tip is a really good way to gauge center. So the easiest way I find is take a straight object. I have this piece of brass. You could also use a ruler. If you use a ruler, that works really well because you get the measurements with it as well. Rank badges, every single one up to the warrant badges, warrant officer second class and warrant officer first class, go midway between your top of your shoulder, right here, and your elbow, right here. Okay? So simply take it. We already know where we're positioning it. We have it like that. Okay? To ensure that this badge is centered, best way to do it is take a flat surface and flatten it like this. Okay? Take our straight line, put a straight edge right like that, ensure it's straight with this, like math, cut it in half. You should have two equal pieces of our pizza, half pizza, to quarters. Okay, and then just align our uniform badge, our rank badge, so in this case flight sergeant, with it. Okay, right about there, right? And you can see we have a straight line right down it, right? Our straight edge goes from here, from center. We have 2 equal parts here, right? Cuts onto the tip of the crown, and then it cuts down straight down the center of your chevrons and ends at the peak of the bottom of the rank badge. Okay? Now, for this badge, for all of your chevron ones, it is very simple to do this. You simply go from the trough to the bottom, or from the top of the crown to the bottom. With your LAC badge, it's a little bit more complicated. But simply take your ruler, position your badge, and then pivot it, and then measure each side from the top of your flat piece on your squadron badge or bottom in this case, like this, right? This edge right here, and just measure down. Okay? Measure down from this to the edge and from here to the edge, making sure you measure from the same spot on both sides. I don't want to measure here down and then here. Let's say right here down. We want to measure from here down and right here down. We're measuring in the same spot both times. Okay? That ensures that it's straight. So now that we have our positioning, we just want to double check. Everything here is about double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking. Right? We have a straight line, goes down, perfect. And now what we can take is our bobby pins. And we'll be pinning it. Keep in mind, I'm holding the entire tunic right now, right? I'm holding the full thing all the way through. But now take your bobby pin and choose wherever, right? Just watch where you're pinching because you don't want to stab your hand, alright? So, right now I'm just going to throw one in here. Like this. Okay? It's not even through yet. It's straight through your jacket, like this, and just poking out the other side. So watch yourself. Okay? And just position it again. Make sure that we're equal on both sides and centered. Alright. You can even take your scissors and place them like this to find a position on your scissors to measure both sides from. Right, so this side here is going to be right there for our length. So we're going to do the same thing over here, and we are pretty equal. Right, you can even bring this up just a little bit, like that. And then we're going to take the second bobby pin and go diagonally from the other one, or whatever works for you. I go diagonal so it doesn't pivot as much. So take this one there, put that one on, say, the bottom side and right side of your badge. Take the second one and put it on the top left. Right? Straight through. And now you will notice that your badge is held on. So now what we'll do is we'll take our blue thread, right? We have our badge positioned. Take your needle and thread the blue thread through the needle. Okay. Take the two ends right here, right? 1 and 2. And just simply tie a granny knot. I'm going to take them, wrap them around my finger, right? So then you'll get this, okay? And then take it around the end from the needle and pull it through the hole. Okay, so we like this. Okay, over, and we get our loop, and then put our thumb through or whatever just to make sure it doesn't pull out the hole, and then push the rope through, and then we end up like this, and we get our knot there. Okay, our knot is right at the tip of the scissors. Okay, I try to do it 2 times just to ensure that it will not pull through. Alright, 2 times, and you can see that knot is way bigger than the first one. Okay, we have this extra 3 inches of thread. Simply leave about 1/4 centimeter or so of thread, right? Just like this. Trim the rest off. Okay? Ensure that your thread is pulled straight through and there's no twists, extremely bad twists that form knots. So it's a straight line. Knot to needle. Okay? Just like that. Okay? The threading is just like this. You want to go from the bottom, so from the inside of your tunic sleeve, go up from the bottom, right? Like this, and then go back down. The reason you go from the bottom is so that your knot right here is hidden away from the outside, because there's that little piece that'll stick out and you don't want that. Okay, so from the inside of the sleeve up through the badge, and you want to stitch it along here. Okay, there's this thicker edge, you'll notice, right? Right here. And then there's a thinner blue edge right next to it. Okay, see all this material? That material along the edge is the stuff you want to stitch into. The thick material on the edge, you don't. Same as the white material, you don't need to stitch into that. Okay? So we're going to start with going up through, and it might take a bit of getting used to figure out where it is, right? So I can see my needle goes through there, so I can kind of reposition it to be right there. And you notice where it is, right? It's right on that thinner material. Okay. Once you put that through, simply pull it through, making sure it does not get caught on this and leaves a 1.5 foot long strand, right? Pull it just a little bit, and then make sure that there's no big tangles in there. Okay? And then now the next step is you're going to go down through the badge, but you're only going to go about 1/8 of a centimeter. Okay? It's so that when you pull it tight, it's invisible. The stitching from the outside, unless you're like really, really close, is gone. Although even if you're close, you shouldn't be able to see it. Okay, so simple, about 1/8 of a centimeter. Push it through. If we go through, that is okay. Ensure that you watch to make sure when you pull it through, it's not actually going through, right? It's not going through. And we're going to pull it through, making sure it doesn't get caught on any of our pieces. The inside, this is where you can get a bit bigger stitching. I go about 1/2 a centimeter to 5/8 of a centimeter. So you can go about the width of this gray piece right here, right? Right here. That's about the width that you can go. Okay? So about the width of, let's say, this toonie, you have the silver piece. That silver width on the flat edge, right, is the width you can go. You can go a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, doesn't really matter, but I prefer about that width because you don't really need anything thicker or smaller than that. Alright, we're going to simply do the width, find where we are. I like to punch it through the edge of the tunic first just to figure out where I am, and then go through so we don't poke 7,000 little holes into the badge. But then we'll push it through. Again, pull it through, ensuring you don't loop on these buttons. Give it a little tug. Okay? Making sure you don't stitch through the bottom, because now you won't be able to put your tunic on. Okay? Again, really tiny. Really, really tiny. Just barely hold, barely over top of the threads on the badge. Right? Should be hidden. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay? Same thing. About 1/2 centimeter or so. Right there. Alright. Pull it through. Okay? Tiny stitch. And then a big stitch. This one is where it's going to get a little bit different. So we're going to push it through. Right. Find our corner. like such, through the thin material, and then push it back there right next to it, little stitch, right? Just making sure you don't loop on a bobby pin or something. This stitch right here, you want to take your needle, push it through, but do it right on the edge of the corner of your badge, so that this corner stays down and does not peek up like this, right? So on every single corner, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corners on this, you want to put one stitch just in the corner, right on the edge, just to hold it. Okay? So what we're going to do is go up, figure out where we are, right there, and just barely go on that edge, right? Just ever so slightly. Okay? It's going to be a bit more difficult, so you're going to need to be careful that you don't stab through the back of the needle onto your hand, and then pull it through, making sure you don't loop it through your tunic and you don't get a big clump behind it. Okay, give it a bit of a tug, and you notice we're in the big thick material towards the edge generally. If you're in the center of this, put a tiny stitch, right? Just shove that in. Okay? Just like that. Go from the inside. And pull it through. And you will notice that your corner here, once you pull it tight, is not sticking up, right? It's held down. And you'll do that on every single corner. You'll do a stitch on the corner, and then you'll do right around 1/2 centimeter stitching through the bottom, right? And then tiny, tiny stitching, ever so tiny, through the top. Now that we have stitched on our badge, you can see it's all the way around, okay? We are going to take our thread, we've gone this way, take any one of these loops here, okay? Any one of those, alright, any one of those. Take your needle right here and push it through below, right? You see a little blue piece here, right? It is below your other thread hole, and then you have your loop like this, right? Now take your needle and thread it through that other hole you got, and then pull it, and once you pull it back from where the thread and needle came from. So we're threading this way, so we want to pull it this way, right? So just give it a quick tug like that, just to tighten up the knot. Same thing, underneath, and then through our loop like this, and then pull it, right? Pull it tight, and then pull it backwards to pull it even tighter. Okay? I do 3 to 4 times to make sure it's never coming undone until we want it to. When we cut it, you're going to cut it with about 1/4 of a centimeter left, right? Because we don't need very much, just leave a bit. Okay? And we're done.